All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So I wanted to make another video about a sport that I'm finding to be more and more fascinating the more videos that I make about it. And that would be the sport of arm wrestling. So there's a particular arm wrestler by the name of Jeff Dabe from Stacy, Minnesota, who has a condition similar to the condition that I mentioned in a previous video about Matthias Schlitt. So that would be the guy that I referred to as the real-life Popeye, because one of his forearms is just massive in comparison to the rest of his body and in comparison to his other arm. I've also made a video about pro arm wrestler Denis Saplinkov, who has arguably some of the biggest hands that anyone has ever seen. And he competed in both powerlifting and arm wrestling. In both sports, he was a world record holder and a very accomplished athlete. So in this video, we have a less accomplished athlete, but a more impressive from a physique standpoint and from the sheer size of his arms and hands. So Jeff Dabe, he competed primarily in the late 70s. He's about 52 years old now, so now he mostly competes in local competition. And the reason for that is because back in 1986, he competed in the prestigious over-the-top arm wrestling competition. And during that competition, his right arm popped during a match. And after it popped, he took a very long hiatus from the sport and did not compete again until 2012, during which he only used his left arm. So he really never used his right arm again in arm wrestling. But the interesting thing about Jeff Dabe, obviously as you're seeing from these photos, is the sheer size of his hands and of his forearms. I mean, his arms are just insanely massive. His forearms measure a massive 49 centimeters in circumference, which is about 19.2 inches. And the size of his hands obviously is ridiculous. So Jeff has never actually gone on record to say exactly what he suffers from or what genetic birth defect gave him this condition. A lot of people speculate it could be localized gigantism, Proteus syndrome. Some people even suggested that he is using synthol in his forearms and hands. But thus far, there has been no proof of any of these claims. So currently, Jeff is doing arm wrestling for the World Arm Wrestling League, or WAL, and he is based out of Minnesota. So like I said, the more I cover arm wrestling, the more fascinating cases and fascinating athletes that we come across like this, because it seems to be the people with these extreme genetic gifts. You could say gifts, some people might say defects, but these extreme genetic traits with these massive hands, or these massive arms, or this crazy strength. We're starting to see this more and more appear in arm wrestling, and it gives us a lot of interesting things to talk about and speculate on, like this guy in particular. What is the cause for the size of his hands? What is the cause for the size of his forearms? Because they do look just ridiculously extreme and cartoonish. So what I would like to know in the comment section below is what your guys' opinion is for what is causing his arms to be that size and his hands to be that size. Because personally, I think the synthol theory would be a ridiculous theory, because the length of his fingers is pretty extreme, as well as the girth of his fingers. So I don't think, it would take a lot of synthol use or some kind of weird experimentation to actually make the tips of your fingers longer and then make them thicker as well. It just seems extremely unlikely that he would be using synthol on his hands. It seems like a crazy idea. So I want to know what you guys think is causing this condition, since no one has really gone on record and there's no evidence for what the actual condition is. So thank you guys for watching the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.